Smith.
Hello.
It is 5:30, but we'll wait for the city clerk to get here, Mr. Westcott.
Okay.
Think she would make some copies.
I have no reason to think he wouldn't.
How are you, sir?
This lease for the Public Works building, is that a 3-year? Is that a
Yes.
renewal?
It's basically a 3-year same rental. Or at least that was what I asked to put in there. I was told 3 years, $2,500 a month.
That's bad.
Normal for that kind of square footage?
I would assume so because the person that did it was Bill Straight initially, who does a lot of commercial real estate. I just asked for a different rental because
3
Yes.
years ago, 2,500 was a fair amount. Is it still a fair amount 3 years later?
I don't know. I don't know if you want to go try and see if the CPI index has changed or if inflation has changed, or whether you want to adjust it or not.
How would
That's-
I learn about that in the next couple of minutes?
You're not going to learn about it in the next couple of minutes.
What I've done in the past is, on that yellow building, I went out and got a realtor to appraise do a market research on the rental. And it showed that,
Exhibits didn't print on 1 and 6, so that's the correct one.
in that case, it showed that the property was undervalued. But in this case, because there's no elevator up there, you're restricted what you put up there. Okay, ready? You ready? Good evening. It is Thursday, May the 20th at 5:30. We are about to commence the finance meeting, and I will turn the floor over to Chairman, Mr. Westcott.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 1 is discussion and consideration of the status of a lease renewal / extension for the second floor space of the Public Works building when the current lease ends at the end of this month. This is a 3-year renewal. What is the will of the committee?
Mr. West, I will mention that Representative EEG, David is here this evening if you have any questions of EEG at this time.
I know that this item was tabled last week. Move forward to this meeting. What is the will of the committee regarding item number 1?
Send it to the council.
Is that with a recommendation of approval?
Yes.
Okay, there's a motion on item number 1 to forward to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there,
I can do both.
is there a different second? Okay, I will second item number 1. Is there any discussion on item number 1? I seconded that. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Item number 2 is consideration of a resolution that would approve the Oakland Cemetery mowing bid, the new contract for that. And before this committee discusses that, where is Ms. Stephanie? If you would, come forward and tell us briefly about that piece of paper that you handed to me earlier.
Yes, sir. The Oakland Cemetery Commission met on Tuesday evening, and they were presented with the bids that were received for the mowing contract. It is their request that I come to you and let you know that their recommendation is to reject both of these offers so that we can put this back out for bid for a broader area and more competitive bidding. In the alternative, they'd like to know, is it possible to waive the bidding process and allow us to open negotiations with lawn care companies in the area for a mowing contract? Our concern is the financial aspects. This was a significant increase from the contract that we did have with our previous mowing company. We would have to look at increasing the cemetery's budget in order for us to maintain the focus that we have currently with the new road addition, opening up the Memorial Addition side, and continuing further with the progress of the cemetery, including the completion of a fence to finish out the cemetery. So, if you have any questions?
Okay.
So you're wanting to put it up for bid again?
Yes, ma'am.
Are the other alternative was?
Waive the bidding process and allow us to enter in negotiations with mowing companies within the area.
I'd like to make that a motion.
Well, in regard to this item that's before us this evening, we are considering a resolution that would approve the lower bid that they received. Do you have a motion regarding item number 2 specifically?
Say that again.
Do you have a motion specific to item number 2, which is a resolution that would approve the lowest bid at $77,400?
I'm not in favor of that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, who put in for the bids? Was it anybody previously that mowed it before?
No one that has previously mowed it before. One of the bids is someone who is currently doing temporary mowing for us to keep us from having issues.
I know in the past, I had received a lot of calls from folks, and I think I reached out to you, that the person who was doing it before, I guess this fella come along, I don't know who's doing it now, but I'd received numerous calls that, you know, the grass had been high and that it really was out of shape, to say the least. I went over there and took some pictures, and people had went out there to, you know, see graves of folks that's buried out there, and it was very discouraging them to see that the shape that it was in.
Yes, sir.
But I'll just leave you with that. I mean, I don't know who's put a bid in or whatever, but since that time, the company that's mowing it now, I've had more phone calls saying, hey, look, this looks fantastic. I know 2 or 3 people since he's took that over, so just something for the Finance Committee to take into consideration.
Ms.
Yes.
Warwick, would you help me with something? Can you, to the best of your knowledge, tell us what the average cost of mowing the cemetery has been over the last 3 or 4 or 5 years? I think currently our contract is just under $32,000.
I would say that on average, our contracts have been between, roughly about $32,000 if you were to average them all out. We
Okay.
understand the cost of inflation and that rates would go up, but for our budget, this seemed quite large.
Okay. And at the time, the 32,000 seemed quite large.
It did.
As well. But just for the sake of those who might not be aware of what's on this piece of paper, we did receive 2 bids. One of them was for $77,400. The other one was for $100,800.
Yes, sir.
And so for that reason, as you have expressed, wanting to get perhaps lower bids here, I move that we forward item number 2 to the full council with a recommendation that we reject both bids.
Second.
Okay, there is a motion and second on item number 2 to forward this item to the full council with a recommendation that we reject both bids. Is there any further discussion on item number 2?
Yes, I'd like to just bring it up that there was some fault in the previous contract on taking care of the grass and
Yes, sir.
those issues out there, but it's also, we're coming up on Memorial Day, and we need to do something pretty quick, and I know,
If I may,
yes.
the interim mowing company will make sure that the cemetery is manicured throughout the rest of the month for us. They've been hired week by week to carry us through the bidding process time, knowing that there is no guarantee of them receiving a contract.
Okay, have they applied?
They are an applicant, yes.
Okay. That's,
Is there any further discussion on item number 2? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Aye.
Did you have something else?
Yes,
What did you have?
he's coming in the door, but you know, it's really,
Okay.
I got for him to hear this.
So again, there's a motion and second to forward to the full council item number 2 with a recommendation that we reject both bids. Is there any further discussion on item number 2? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Item 2A was the appropriation for that, and forgive me, but I should have included 2A with item number 2. Mr. Smith, is there anything different that I need to do on 2A?
No.
Okay. Moving on to item number 3 is discussion regarding the MJ Hickey Pool design work and leak detection submitted by Terry Thomas.
I would say 3 and 3A, Ms. Westcott.
Let's do 3 and 3A together. Mr. Thomas, what can you tell us about items number 3 and 3A?
The cost there is for the leak detection that we are going to have done on Monday. They're scheduled to be here at 9 o'clock on Monday to do the leak detection. And it's also the preliminary engineering cost to get ready to do the specs for when we get ready to remodel it or renovate it, I guess you'd say, was the other $8,900, which comes out to $11,706.43. And this is a company coming out of Kansas City. They were formerly Larkin Aquatics. They do a lot of work here in Arkansas. They're going to come in and they're going to inspect the pool. They're going to inspect they're going to go over the leak detection, what they find out from that. They're going to give us reviews of what they think needs to be done to the pool. They're going to check on all the chemical, well, not the chemical feeders, but the sand filters and all the above ground and below ground plumbing. They're going to inspect all of that and then come back to us with a recommendation of, and a scope of work and some budgetary numbers that we can use to see if we want to take further actions or which direction we want to go when this comes back to us.
Mr. Thomas, do I recall you saying to me in a conversation that what they're planning to do is differently than what we had previously planned on doing as far as a different type leak detection or something being different than what we were going to do?
No, this is the same leak detection company that Burton Pools was going to do.
You said it was going to do, when we talked after the meeting the other night, you said it was going to be, they told you they wanted it tested a certain way or differently than what we previously.
Well, this company wanted to make sure that we tested the pit and the part of the baby pool that scoots over to the baby pool, the water flow to the baby pool. It's basically going to be the same. They're going to do us the same thing. They're detecting the gutters, all the underground. They should do all the above ground, and then that pit, which there's a big pit behind the fence there where all the wastewater goes to and then filters out through it. And a lot of times they say that's where one of your leaks could be, is in that pit, because there's a lot of plumbing in that pit. Because it's probably like an 8x8 square that's in the ground. It's probably 8 foot deep.
Mr. Westcott, if I might, I just want get Terry's verification of what I'm about to say, but I just need the council to understand that this funding for this inspection is just to get a recommendation. One of the things that the council wanted was a bid spec, and that's going to require additional funding. Is that correct, Mr.
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
So this does not include them the development of this bid spec. They want to do this inspection review, and then they will come back and tell us how much they want to develop the bid spec.
Right. And once we do this part of it, we can decide from there whether we want to go ahead and do bid specs out, because they may come back and tell us the same thing that these other two companies has already told us. But they're going to give us their recommendation, and they may find things that we don't find, because, I'll tell you now, I'm not a pool expert, so this is what this company does for a living. So, but yes, that's true, Mayor.
Well, if you look at item number 2 there on the quote from Lamp Reinerson. It says that they will make recommendations for the needed repairs, including budgetary costs, so at least we would have some rough guesstimate of what it would take to repair any of the leaks and what have you that they find.
Right,
Is
yes.
that right?
Yes.
Okay.
And they will determine too if the amount of renovations, because once you get to a certain point, we may have to go through the Department of Health to get permits. And the way we were doing it before, and they may come back and say, hey, the way we were looking at doing it is the right way to do it. We would not have to go through the Department of Health, which takes a little longer to go through when you're trying to get those permits.
Okay. I move that we forward items number 3 and 3A to the full council with a recommendation of approval.
Second.
Second by Mr. Brown. Is there any further discussion on items number 3 and 3A? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Items number 4 and 4A. Number 4 is a resolution that accepts the lowest responsible bid for the Schoolhouse Trails Project Phase 1. And item number 4A is the appropriation for that in the amount of $90,507.93. And I move that we forward items number 4 and 4A to the full council with a recommendation of approval.
And second that.
Second by Mr. Brown. Is there any discussion on items 4 and 4A? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Item number 5 is consideration of a resolution that would authorize the mayor and city clerk treasurer and finance director to apply for and accept a grant with the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences for digital health and innovation for the city of Russellville for broadband due diligence business studies. I move that we forward item number 5 to the full council with a recommendation of approval.
Second it.
Second by Mr. Brown. Is there any discussion on item number 5? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, the last on our agenda this evening, is consideration of a resolution to approve the extension of the lease agreement between the City of Russellville, Arkansas and City Corporation for their water and wastewater system for 1 year. And I move that we forward item number 6 to the full council with a recommendation of approval.
I second that.
Second by Mr. Brown. Is there any discussion on item number 6? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Is there any other items for the Finance Committee at this time? Hearing none, Mayor, we yield the floor back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Westcott. At this time, the Finance Committee will be adjourned, and we will re-adjourn at 6 o'clock to start the council meeting. Thank you.